Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Ezra. Sandy Claws.
And Ezra, can you say surprise hit?
I
Can
can
you
say surprise hit.
surprise hit?
I feel like 3 or 4 hours ago I shouldn't be saying surprise hit, but I will now because I like this movie.
Okay, I'm glad to see a couple people in the comments. We have Pink Pearl and Donovan in the comments. That's good,
Awesome.
guys, because I am just going to say it right now. Dora and the Lost City of Gold is the surprise hit of the year for me. I'm not going to go as far as to say I love this movie because I do think there's some plot issues in the third act that I have a little bit of trouble with, Sandy.
Yeah.
We'll get into those. But I mean, across the board, this movie, it's self-aware. It's just filled with charm. The lead actors just, I mean, especially the actress playing Dora is just, oh, she is just on fire, Sandy. I mean, honestly, Sandy, if I were voting in the Academy Awards, I'd give her like a Best Actress nomination right now. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. She was that good.
You know,
like
you're on point when you said
magnetic.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're on point where you're saying surprise hit because emphasis on surprise. This is definitely a super major surprise hit. Yeah, boy, there's quite a bit to say.
And folks, rest assured, we're not gonna be diving into spoilers until a little bit later into this. We're gonna try and make this kind of a half and half conversation with spoilers and non-spoilers. So I know it says Spoilercast, but really that's just kind of for marketing purposes, honestly. So rest assured, we're not going to be getting into spoilers for a while. So you can stay and watch this for the time being. We'll of course give you a warning when we get into spoilers. Yeah. So, but I mean, Jesus Christ, Ezra! Right from the get-go, this movie just had me.
I know.
I can't believe I am raving about the Dora the Explorer live-action movie, but I am, and I don't care. That's what I love about movies, man. That's what I love about movies sometimes, is that sometimes, like, you can walk into something and have no expectations at all and just find yourself just utterly charmed by what you're seeing, and this was a great example of that. Oh man.
So over opening weekend, we got 2 highly anticipated movies, both anticipated by the large majority for completely different reasons. Scary Stories was something many people have been waiting for patiently, with open arms, and Dora and the Lost City of Gold
Dora was kind of the opposite.
Yeah, it was a film that many resented from the mere mention of its name. So Scary Stories came out this weekend. They came out in the same day, surprisingly enough, and I found it to be surprisingly terrible. Scary Stories. We've already talked about that. On the same day, Dora and Lost City of Gold, which I thought was surprisingly tasteful and very enjoyable, also came out. So get this: as of right now, the end of opening weekend, Dora currently has a higher audience and critic score than Scary Stories Tell in the Dark. I never thought I'd live in a world where I'd be saying this or this would be an actual fact, but it makes me feel weird, Tiki. In a good way, of course. I mean, I just never thought I'd actually see that on a screen. Scary Stories being less appraised than Dora the Explorer live action movie.
Yeah.
I'd consider this not a perfect family film, but I'd say it's up there, you know.
Okay, so speaking of some imperfections, Donovan Martin points out in the comments, the CGI looks god awful. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's god awful, Donovan. What I like about it is I feel the CG kind of hits the same kind of beats that Detective Pikachu hits, where it's not trying to be realistic. But, I mean, yeah, it's not great. You know, it's not going to be the Lion King 2019 or a Marvel movie or anything like that. But I honestly think for the type of movie it is, this works just fine.
You know, I something that I noticed too, right out of the gate, of course, seeing the trailers, is the Swiper and Boots are the 2 animate only main animated characters from the TV show, of
Uh-huh.
course. And I think more for me, it's that it looks kind of awkward. They look kind of awkward just because they're supposed to look realistic, but also like cartoons. I really didn't mind. At first, very first, I'm not gonna lie, I thought that Boots and Swiper were done in stop motion. And that was in the first scene that they were in. I realized later on that they weren't, but I don't think the CGI in this movie was bad at all. I mean, the characters, like, again, they look kind of awkward because they're trying to be the best of two different worlds, but yeah, I don't think personally the CGI in this movie was bad at all.
Pink Pearl says the trailers look like a mix between Indiana Jones and Tomb Raider with a Nickelodeon Dora mask. Pink Pearl, that's honestly what you're getting, with the asterisk that this is way better than any Tomb Raider movie.
Yeah, I think this is probably the best Nickelodeon movie I've seen in years.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Dragon and I are going through a retrospective on the live-action Nickelodeon movies. I still have to edit the Good Burger retrospective, but Ezra, I can safely say this is way better than Good Burger.
Yeah.
Oh man. I mean, Good Burger's definitely got some nostalgic '90s charm to it, to be sure, but. Yeah, it's like this is like a kid's Indiana Jones, and Ezra, this is like one of the rare times where I'm just like, I want a sequel. Like, I want to see more of this cast. I want to see what this cast can do. You know what? I'm almost getting goosebumps.
I would almost agree with you. I really like the characters and the actors in this movie. I don't necessarily know that I don't want a sequel. I have to think about it a little longer because right now the entire cast, the entire presentation of the movie, it left a really good taste in my mouth, and I don't want to risk getting a sequel and having that get tarnished. Yeah.
You've got a fair point. I'm just saying, like, I'm someone who's optimistic about sequels if they do it right and if there's room to expand on the story. And I think here there's certainly room to expand on the story.
Yeah, I'll go with you halfway on it. I think a sequel, if they can do it right, wouldn't be a bad idea. Yeah.
Okay. One thing I will have to address, Swiper, is he absolutely steals the show. He is so entertaining.
He is.
I just wish there. I wish there was a little bit more of him though.
I know. I was gonna say that. I was gonna say this. Tamora Morrison, who plays the main villain, and Swiper, who also plays the main villain. There's not enough of them. You've got these two really great actors, Benicio del Toro playing Swiper and Tamora Morrison, and you don't see enough of them. You got these really great performers, and there's not much of them on screen, and that left me feeling a little bit empty because I really love good villains, and I think this film could have given us some really good villains.
I honestly think if we do another movie with this Swiper as the main villain, it could be a ton of fun. I like this Swiper. It's like, to make a DC comparison, this Swiper almost felt like Black Manta and Aquaman, who was clearly like the more interesting villain out of the two. But Black Manta doesn't get a ton of screen time in Aquaman, and neither does Swiper. But much like Swiper, Black Manta has one very standout sequence in Aquaman and a few other bits here and there, and that's really all you need to make an impression. And I feel like Swiper's the same way. I mean, just the energy levels. Swiper, I can safely say, the look of Swiper might be a little off, but I absolutely love the way he's animated.
Yeah, me too.
The tiptoeing and all that, it's so great.
And the thing is with he and Boots too, in some cases, they're treated like actual cartoon characters. And you think, okay, that doesn't work because this is a real world, but this movie is so self-aware. It's goofy and ridiculous. But
this movie is as ridiculous as Good Burger. It's just self-aware about it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as far as live action goes, you think, okay, everything has to be treated like a live action because they're having it in this live action setting, but no, it's really self-aware, goofy, ridiculous, and it just works. Treating them like cartoon characters works. And we'll get into that a little later when the main characters themselves.
Yeah, Pink Pearl, Benicio del Toro voices Swiper, and he does an amazing job.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to talk more about that opening scene? Because, of course, I don't want to get too detailed into it, but the opening, let's just say how the movie's set up, like that first act. Because honestly, Sandy, I think the first act is the strongest part of the movie. It left a really good first taste in my mouth.
Yeah, I agree.
So I love that, without giving too much away, I love that first fantasy scene where we see a lot of the stuff like realized in live action. We see the backpack talking and everything like that. And,
Yeah.
6-year-old Dora and Diego. And that's just it's so fun. The swiper, no swiping gag. They do a lot of fun stuff with swiper, no swiping.
And this is where we get our first big punch of self-awareness. You have the map saying, I'm a talking map. It's like, yeah.
Well, Sandy, that's fun. That's fun. But
That's just fun.
Our first real slap in the face of self-awareness, Sandy. Do you want to go into it the bit at the dinner table?
Oh yeah, it's
I am
in the trailer.
I am certain this is going to be a meme, folks. This is pulled. It is in the trailer, but the way it's pulled together in the context of the movie is great. Oh my god.
I could see that becoming a meme. I really could.
It's so funny. I mean, just the delivery on it. Basically, it's like Diego and Dora are 6-year-old Diego and Dora are like trying to speak Spanish, and they're saying "delicio" as in delicious, and then Dora looks right at the camera and she's like, "Can you say delicio?" And then there's this really perfectly timed awkward pause. And then it cuts to Michael Pena, who's also a delight in this movie. And Michael Pena is just like, oh, dear God, what kind of child have I raised? Oh, man. Oh, dear.
But let's do you want to talk more about the opening, or can we get to the characters?
Well, I want to talk about just the structure of one thing I want to mention before we get into the characters. I want to give credit to the podcast Double Toasted for pointing this out, but I think it's really accurate. The first act of this movie definitely feels like high school Crocodile Dundee, and I kind of love it because
I've never seen all of this. I think I saw the half of the first one, but I really wouldn't be able to share much insight on that. But I'd imagine that's about right.
Well, Crocodile Dundee, of course, is a famous fish out of water thing.
Yeah.
And the the really fun thing about Crocodile Dundee is everyone's giving him all this shit, but he doesn't really care. He's self-confident. He's he really doesn't care that he's a fish out of water. He kind of owns it. And that's kind of Dora in this movie. She's Isabella Moner. I hope I'm getting that name pronunciation right. Because she really is a standout. I mean, I'm half joking about her nominated for a Best Actress, but honestly, I could see it in the same vein that people were pleading for Amy Adams to get nominated for Enchanted. I mean, it's honestly on that same sort of level of just she captures it, man. It's just oh man, if I don't even know how to describe it. It's just I have not seen this energetic of a performance in years of just I have no idea who this girl is, if she's a pop star or from a sitcom or whatever. I don't know. I have no context for who this girl is. I stopped following Nickelodeon stuff years ago, so I don't know if she's a current Nickelodeon star or what.
I don't think so.
But whoever she is, man, her comic timing, and that's the most important thing beyond anything else. It's just the comic timing, and her comic timing is so on point in this movie, and it's just a delight to watch.
So speaking of characters,
go into the characters. Let's go. Yeah.
So you've got the film. It plays off a ton of stereotypes. Well, not a ton, but it plays off, I guess, 3 main stereotypes. You've got the geeky guy, the uptight high school girl, the guy who just wants to fit in, and then you've got Dora. And we've already talked about her quite a bit, but I'm having real trouble categorizing her because she's basically just stirring the pot, her character, and it's really, really fresh because I didn't even care about the stereotypes. I mean, because it's simple as that. I mean, I think Dora, her performance of Isabella Moner, was that it?
Yeah.
Or Moner. Her performance was just really, really solid. And I think that even though you have those stereotypes in there, it's not a huge deal because you've got these other really entertaining. The performances are all entertaining, of course, and so there's a lot that basically takes that stereotype image and just kind of just pushes it to the side. It's like, it's there, but you really don't care about it because there's so much more else to enjoy.
I mean, Ezra, you're right, but it's like, of course, we both agree from that Scary Stories podcast, Ezra, and I'm trying to make this a running joke, even though it probably won't be a running joke. But Ezra, we don't care about Cliff Booth and Rick Dalton, do we?
Not at all, Tiki. Man.
And we don't care about Dora and Diego or like Woody and Buzz from Toy Story 4. None of those.
No.
None of them. Screw them all. Screw them all. It's all about Augie and Chuck, Ezra. We gotta go back for Augie and Chuck. All right. Okay, I'm sorry, folks. It's just we're kind of ranting about how bland and forgettable the characters in Scary Stories are.
Well, speaking of supporting characters, in this movie, you've got Michael Pena. Michael Pena. And then you've got
Ava
Longoria, Tamar Morrison, Benicio del Toro, and what's his Eugenio Debris? Is that how you pronounce his name?
Derbez, it looks like.
Derbez, okay. All of which do a spectacular job. I wanted to see more of their characters, especially Swiper and Morrison, who I think didn't get nearly enough screen time. And that'd be one of my big complaints, if I'm going to be honest. We didn't get enough of the villains. But just a hilarious supporting cast. Just perfect.
Yeah, Michael Pena, the bit where he's trying to imitate dubstep.
Just goes on way too long.
It goes on a little bit too long, but I think it's kind of like that rule of comedy where it goes on for so long that it kind of loops around to become funny again.
It's like in Pee Wee Herman with a balloon.
Right. Or to cite an example that doesn't work, a gag that tries to do it is Good Burger, the whole bloopity 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 bloopity. That's a gag that doesn't work. It really doesn't. Like that gag just kind of exemplifies what Good Burger doesn't. Anyways, I just want to really quickly address Pink Pearl saying that the Latino representation in this movie, and it is on point, Pink Pearl. I mean, there's a lot of Spanish in this movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of culture. I mean, it is like you're not going to be disappointed with that. And like I said, Isabella Moner, she really is like a standout. Like I haven't been this surprised by any performance in a while. I mean, she just really leaps off the screen.
And speaking of just the Spanish, this representation of the culture in this film with the grandma, because my grandma,
oh yeah, absolutely,
my grandma is from El Salvador, so she has a very, very heavy she speaks fluent Spanish. That's how she was raised, and so her English is very broken. And hearing the grandma in this film was like, wow, that's actually how my grandma sounds. So
it's funny because I actually work with an old Spanish woman who speaks very broken English, so I could also relate to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Pink Pearl said it was on point. Is that what you said?
No, I'm just agreeing with Pink Pearl that she's hoping that this movie is going to represent the Latino culture well, and it absolutely does. Like you're not going to be disappointed with that.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
Yeah. Okay, and like I said, I'm sorry I keep going on about this, but it's just Isabella Moner is just I said.
I'm gonna look out for her on more projects.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. So
writing,
just to go down. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Did you want to talk about the writing or the visuals?
No, I want to just kind of quickly address the rest of the characters because I think there is a little bit dive into there.
Yeah,
My least
you're right.
favorite one was the nerd stereotype.
Really?
I,
Okay.
I thought he was fine.
My least favorite was the uptight high school girl. Was it her name is Sammy, right? Was that
Yeah,
what it
you
was?
see, I actually liked her because I thought out of everyone in the movie, she kind of had one of the best arcs. Like from how she started out is definitely like very much an antagonist to Dora.
Yeah, I did not like her. She was my least favorite out of the bunch, but I didn't
It's
not
kind
like
of
her
like how I
character.
didn't not like the nerd, but out of the four, it's
Yeah, you see, I thought the
come
nerd had a what was his name?
Randy.
I was gonna say Chuck. I corrected myself, but
You better correct yourself, Sandy, because Chuck is just—I mean, he's just another level.
so Randy in this film, I actually had a couple moments where I was laughing at what he was doing. I think 2 or 3. I know just the fact that he just randomly says I can hold my breath underwater for more than 7 minutes. It's like okay, but then it actually comes into play later on. And I was really happy because that's something that Scary Stories didn't do. Is they would set things up and didn't carry him through. And this film actually does that, does it well. So
Absolutely, absolutely. Diego is a lot of fun. I think he's a pretty good, realistic representation of what that character would be like domesticated 10 years later.
yeah, I agree.
uh, and I like how he kind of, he very much does care for Dora and, like protects her, but at the same time, he's just like, oh God, this is not looking good for my high school reputation. All right, so yeah, let's talk about story, Sandy. Is that where you want to dive into next?
Yeah. So my biggest
And really
complaint,
quickly here, folks,
yeah.
really quickly, I think this is probably, if you guys care about spoilers, and rest assured, there's not too many spoilers in this one. But if it is something where you want to go in completely fresh on the plot department, I would probably duck out now.
Well, no,
But obviously, suffice to say,
I've got something to say about the writing that's spoiler free. So,
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
So my biggest complaint with Scary Stories, which I felt had terrible writing, we've gone over that many times in the past before it. Dora, on the other hand, has for a goofy family adventure comedy, has really really good writing. And I've got jokes that carry through till the end and have plot points that actually go places. Like we mentioned before, the one writing element that makes this movie shine is the fact that it's self-aware, and it's very self-aware. It's very funny, and the actors really push it to its full potential. I think, just in short, the writing is really ridiculous. It's really entertaining. It's really really fun. It's just fun writing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And I think now would be a good time for anyone who cares about spoilers to duck out.
Yeah.
All right. So, spoilers in 1, 2, 3, go. All right. And also, Pink Pearl, no, Diego does not have a pet leopard, but there is a mention of a leopard. There is a little Easter egg there because in that little puzzle they do. Remember Sandy with the levers? I believe that his animal is a leopard, right?
I think so, and he does have a leopard stuffed animal in the very beginning, and he does have.
Oh, okay.
I think he does have a live action leopard or an animated leopard in the opening sequence, the fantasy sequence.
Oh, does he?
I
Okay,
think
I must
so.
have missed that. All right.
Maybe I'm just making that up. I don't know.
Okay.
Eugenio, what's it? Derbez. I want to get his first name right.
I think it's Eugenio.
Is it?
Yeah,
Eugenio
I think it's
Derbez.
Eugenio
Okay.
Derbez.
Is it? Okay. All right. Anyways, I just want. It's like with you with the 3 Caballeros or Caballero.
Oh, absolutely. I'm
just can't get it right.
I'm hopeless with that.
Yeah. So, just Mr. Derbez with his big plot twist, I guess.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit projected, but spoiler alert, guys, this random dude who's, following these kids in the jungle and vaguely knows their parents, turns out he's actually the villain. What a twist! Sandy, did you ever see Hey Arnold, the Jungle movie?
No, I didn't.
Okay, my biggest complaint about this movie is that at a certain point, and spoilers for the Jungle movie, folks. At a certain point, this movie just straight up becomes Hey Arnold, the Jungle movie.
Does it?
It really does. I mean, everything from like the kids in a fish out of water type situation in the jungle to this one character who's supposedly a father figure, supposedly knows their parents, but actually it turns out it's a double cross and he doesn't actually know the parents at all and he's working for the bad guy. That absolutely happens in the Jungle movie. And then even down to like finding the lost city and the tribe who ultimately saves them in the end. I mean, it's all very much the Jungle movie, Ezra. That is definitely my biggest writing in my biggest problem in the writing department.
Well, honestly, I'm glad I didn't see that one then. I probably won't, just because I'm glad I got to experience it through this movie, because I actually have a pretty long history with Dora, watching it as a little kid, which Hey Arnold I really didn't. I watched that a few times, but I didn't have that same connection.
You see, for me, it's the complete opposite. Like, I definitely know who Dora is, obviously. I know the format. I know the fundamentals of Dora. But Sandy, of course, you and I have a little bit of an age gap. I grew up watching Blue's Clues. And
in addition
to that, but in addition to Blue's Clues, I also grew up watching Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold was one of the big shows for me. So yeah, Jungle Movie was much more of an event for me than it obviously was for you.
Oh, we're gonna get that Blue's Clues live action movie. Just you wait.
Oh, we are. We totally are. Don't even joke about that. That's happening, man. I would be surprised if that was already in development.
We're getting the reboot, which looks pretty good. No, I'm serious. It does look pretty good for a preschool show. For a preschool show, it does look pretty good. But I wouldn't be surprised if we get the live action. Just putting that out there.
I would honestly, if it's as self-aware as this movie is, I would be totally down.
I invite it in. Yes, I would invite that.
Imagine if it was like kind of like a surrealist, like Pee-wee's Playhouse type thing.
Oh god! You meant the salt and pepper shaker or puppets?
Oh god! All right. Anyways, good times. Good times. So yeah, the villain twist is pretty much the main twist of the movie. I will say I really like how Derbez kind of plays the Alejandro character, is very pathetic and bumbling throughout the time where he's with the kids.
Yeah,
like, there's a lot of good slapstick humor with him.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I didn't see the villain twist coming. I feel really dumb. I did. Well, I didn't.
The reason why I saw the villain twist coming was because of the Jungle movie. I'll be honest with you.
Okay, well, that makes sense. I didn't see it coming personally because I was having so much fun with his character and with the Dora character and everyone else that I wasn't even thinking about any potential plot twist, because it's a family movie. I wasn't really expecting anything that like that. Anyways, I feel really ridiculous now because it's like, but yeah, I was having fun with everything that I was trying to. I was watching. I was also watching in time to see what I could snag this movie on. Ha! You didn't do that right. No. But I
honestly, the one thing that I have to say for that is this movie, like, and even the movie's even self-aware about this, Sandy, all right? It's self-aware about the fact that the climax is a little complicated with the jungle puzzles and everything.
Yeah.
And they even point out the fact that, like, hey, this is really complicated. This is a puzzle, and so I don't even really mind that. The fact that, because we already pointed out Scary Stories, freaking train wreck of a climax, way too complicated, especially on the part with the the girl and the going back in time and whatever the hell that was. I still don't understand what I watched.
Neither do I.
But I really don't. I genuinely do not understand what happened there. But yeah, I mean, like I said, this is just kind of like a few puzzles. And the puzzles are a little bit like, I think it goes on a little too long. I think you maybe could have cut one of the puzzles, but it honestly doesn't bother me too much. It's like, that's probably the, let me see. This movie has a runtime of about It has a runtime of about an hour 40 minutes, and if anything, I would have maybe trimmed out like a puzzle or two, made it an hour 35 minutes.
Yeah.
So if that's the worst I can say about this movie. It's like,
well, I'll be honest. I didn't understand what was going on with the tribe thing at the end with that lady that kind of like transformed into like a an Inca like goddess.
I'm glad you're bringing this up because that is kind of where the movie lost me a little bit. You're right about that.
It's like they're trying to make it not complicated, but then they
Pirates of the Caribbean sequel logic.
Yeah, it's like they never. I was expecting them to explain that, like, you know, through some kind of self-aware joke of, yeah, that didn't make sense at all.
right.
But they didn't. And I was that's one of my biggest questions of the movie is, who was she? What was she doing there? I want to know more about that tribe. I want to know why, like, you know, why they're there.
Yeah.
I get they're guarding the temple and everything, but I wanted to know more because they didn't have any lines really. I mean, she had a few lines, but they didn't say anything. I think there's some stuff you could have trimmed out. We never really get to see like the actual gold itself, like what they're looking at. We get to see like a little glimpse of it, like the giant gold monkey, but we don't get to see.
And even then, we don't get a good close up of the gold monkey. It's just kind of in the background of a few shots.
Exactly, and I was kind of wondering why they made that decision. Unless they're planning to make a sequel, which who knows? They didn't set up a sequel.
No, unlike Scary Stories, which is blatantly just like spoiler alert for Scary Stories. Like, my God, we got to get Augie and Chuck back because everyone's so invested in Augie and Chuck.
And even if a movie is bad, I still have a respect for it if they're not going to be setting up any type of sequel, because that's what movies are all about these days. You know, with Marvel and DC, setting up sequels like 5 movies in advance. It's like, just chill out, slow down. As Diego said, slow your roll.
Standalone superhero movie. Ezra, have you seen Shazam?
No, I haven't.
I honestly think you would like Shazam.
I know I would.
It's very standalone.
I know I would.
Yeah, and it's also self-aware as hell, just like this movie.
Oh yeah. I think that might still be in the cheap theater here, so I'll go see it if it is. But I think that's probably my biggest pet peeve with the writing is the very end with the whole tribe thing. That's where it kind of just falls apart a little bit. But
like I said, Pirates of the Caribbean sequel logic.
But get this. I mean, the movie is so ridiculous in and of itself. It's like then this magical woman just appears and it's like, I'm here now. It's ridiculous, but that's what we're going for. So I guess I kind of read it like that. What do you think?
You know what, Sandy? It's kind of like I really wish that they would have just cut to a what the fuck reaction on Michael Peña's face. I honestly think that would have saved everything. Like, that's such an easy fix. Honestly, because it's such an easy fix, because I can just imagine that what the fuck look on Michael Peña's face, I think it's really easy to forgive.
Yeah, if we get one reaction shot of Michael Peña, then I think that would have saved that entire plot point. Do we have any live watchers, Tiki?
Yeah, Pink Pearl said she's got to go. Happy birthday, Pink Pearl. I will be uploading the Three Caballeros commentary probably tomorrow.
Awesome.
Hopefully. She's also pitching live-action Rugrats, and I don't know about that. I really... That's crossing another line.
Is she going to be in the debate?
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Was that pitching live-action Rugrats? Is that on our channel or?
No, she's just saying she's just saying live action Rugrats make it a thing, Nickelodeon. She's just kind of throwing it out as a general idea.
Yeah, the Nicktoons pitch is coming up in a few weeks, so I thought that tied in.
No.
Okay. Anyways, back to this. So I think we both agreed that if he just had that one reaction shot, and that would have saved that entire bit. But oh well, we can just imagine it's there. But I have no problem with that.
You know what would have made that even better is it would have been a bookend to the first Michael Pena gag in the movie with his what the hell reaction shot.
Exactly.
Right. Oh god, good times. Okay, so obviously, folks, Sandy, I'm gonna have to like look through my list of 2019 movies. Like, I will like just to name some that I think are better than this. Like, obviously, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I still really love The Art of Self-Defense. That's a really quirky movie that you should check out when it comes to streaming. Let's see, Toy Story 4 I think is probably a little better than this. But I mean, it's Pixar. It's Toy Story 4.
Well,
you know,
I don't want to compare the two because this is a standalone movie. It's not a sequel to anything. So I think it works for a lot for different reasons. You know, it's better for different reasons.
So what I'm saying is, like, I honestly, gun to my head right now, I would say that this is in my top 5 movies of 2019.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And I am shocked by that, Ezra. I am just like, oh my god, like what is happening here? What is happening that Dora and the Lost City of Gold is in the same conversation as Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Well, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Dora made a ton of money at the box office. People are going to be saying that in about 50 years.
All right. So, suffice to say, folks, I mean, Ezra and I, we are just kind of glowing about this thing. And this type of movie is exactly why I love going to the movies in the first place, and exactly why I give every movie a chance. Because you never know. You really never know. Because this project was just maligned from the start. It was kind of a laughingstock of Hollywood. Everyone thought this was going to be terrible. And it's like, it honestly is one of the best Nickelodeon movies ever made. Seriously, one of the best adaptations of a cartoon series that I have seen. Like, I honestly can't think of a better one off the top of my head. It's certainly better than any of the Flintstones movies or the Scooby-Doo movies or anything like that.
Well, do you mean Nickelodeon shows to movies? Is that what you mean?
No, I'm just saying, generally speaking, like cartoon to live action. Like, it doesn't even have to be Nickelodeon.
All right.
Also, another bit, Ezra, that we forgot to mention that we'd be remiss if we didn't mention. How good was that animated bit?
You know, I'm glad you bring that up because I didn't like that too much. I
thought really?
I don't think this movie had the budget to make a really, really good looking animated sequence. I thought it kind of looked a little too TV quality.
You see, I thought that was the gag, Ezra. I thought they went out of their way to make it look as cool.
Well, I guess I can excuse that. Well, I guess I can excuse that. I just don't particularly like the fact that they used it as basically a tool to jump ahead in the story without explaining very much. I felt it felt a little out of place, not too out of place. The bright colors were a huge contrast to everything else. Because that whole sequence is just bright as frick. But yeah, I think I don't like that they use it as a tool to skip ahead in the story without explaining too much. But and that's just me.
All right, well, hey, that's totally fair. And again, that's kind of like, even with a movie like this, we can find subjective opinions that kind of differentiate from each other. Because honestly, I thought that was one of the best bits of the movie because of how accurately it represented the original show. But I will agree it's a little out of place, and for sure the colors are a contrast. But I don't know, I just got a kick out of how accurate it was. And seeing the designs in 2D and everything, the designs of the new characters and 2D cartoon Alejandro running naked into the jungle.
That was funny. That was funny because that's something you never see in the original show.
Exactly. So, I mean, yeah, suffice to say, folks, this is surprisingly one of the best movies of the year. It really is. I mean,
And we are not innocent when it comes to just kind of ripping this movie apart without seeing it, because we were doing that at the end of the Scary Stories podcast.
At the end of the Scary Stories podcast, we totally were. Yeah. Oh man.
But this is
wild.
This is the perfect example of not judging a movie before you see it.
Exactly.
I find myself falling into that spot where I want to judge a movie the first time I see the trailer. It's just, you can't do it. It's hard sometimes, but you really shouldn't do it. But I don't know.
All right, good stuff. I mean, like I said, like I keep saying, it's movies like this that make me continue to go out to the movie theater and see mostly mediocre crap. You know what I mean? Because 1 time out of 10, you're going to hit something like this where you're not looking forward to it at all. Like, for example, I'll give you an example, okay? Like, my grandma really wants to see the new movie, The Art of Racing in the Rain. It's the dog therapy movie about the race car driver who has like a therapy dog.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's the type of movie where I would not have any interest in it at all, but I'll probably wind up seeing it because my grandma wants to see it. But who knows? You never know. It's like walking into that theater, I'm just going to be like, well, this will be a way to kill an hour and 40 minutes. But you never know. I mean, that movie does have Milo Ventimiglia. That guy's getting a lot of hype from This Is Us. I haven't watched This Is Us, but, he is getting a lot of hype from that. I could legitimately walk out of that movie being like, my God, I have never seen an animal, like a dog and owner relationship quite like that in this movie. Like, holy crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's probably not going to be the case. I'm probably going to walk out of The Art of Racing in the Rain being like, yeah, that was okay. It was fine. Good performances. Decent.
Who knows?
But, it's like you never know.
One thing that we didn't discuss, it's kind of minor, but Danny Trejo's boots in that, 30 seconds.
Right? Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, my God.
It's like, so Boots he's not a talking monkey, but it's like, there was this scene where Boots.
Oh, that was perfect.
He needed to talk, and they got the perfect voice to be voicing this cute little monkey. It's like, Dora's expression too. Her reaction to that was just perfect.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so I think that's just about it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, folks. And please, for the love of God, don't go out and see The Lion King multiple times. Please see this movie. Support this movie.
Well, if you've seen The Lion King and you like it, if you want to go back and see it, go for it. If you enjoy it, if it makes you happy, go for it. But if you wanna see something different, something kind of unconventional, go see this, because this is not a remake. This is something that's based off a property that no one thought could make it successfully to a live action universe, and it works really, really well. Maybe not for everyone, but I know it worked for me. I know it worked for you, Tiki. So, yeah.
All right. Sandy, say it with me. Swiper, no swiping. Swiper, no swiping.
Oh, man.
Swiper, no swiping. Oh, man.